everybody. How are we? I'd say good morning, good evening, and good night to you all. But it's the beginning of this conversation, so hello. So today I'm going live with the one and only, the amazing Elix, all the way from Italy, up in the mountain regions. We're going to be talking about his studio, all of his amazing animals that he has on his small little farm, and everything that he's been doing over the last year. He's recently gotten himself this amazing medieval cellar, and that is his studio. So we've got lots of things to talk about today. Waiting for him to come live. He's going to be able to see this soon. I'm going to put a suggestion in for him to join the live now, just in case. Hello, Izel. How are you? That is his amazing partner. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful human being. You should definitely check their Instagram. Their Instagram is full of amazing, remarkable things. And here he is. I'm going to send an invite through to you now to join the live stream. The invite has been sent. Yes, it has. Oh, I think it dropped out. Let's try that again. Oh, no, there you are.
Okay, here I am.
There you are, there you are, there you are. How are you? It's been a while. We've been talking for ages. So good to finally see you face to face.
Yeah, indeed, this is the first time that we talk together in live, so
it is.
We always share messages, but we never talk in live.
Yes, and I'm so excited to finally have you here today. Like, how has your morning been?
Well, I finally managed to defeat COVID, let's say so. So I managed to go and work again to my emporium. So I continue the work on my entrance door. So then I come back to the house to to prepare everything for this live.
I can't wait to see your door when you do finish it. How far did you progress today? Oh, and for all who are watching, his emporium is essentially, correct me if I'm wrong, it's what I call a studio.
Yeah, it's like an artistic studio workshop. I call it emporium because in Italian we don't have a word to define it. So we call it laboratory in Italian, so but it's not the same thing.
Sounds like you're going to be concocting some beautiful things, and I do know you could do concoction things. You specialize in soap, from what I'm familiar with.
Yeah, well, I wish to tell you everything herbal related, but for now it's soap. And every thing that when I get up in the morning, my supposedly ADHD tell me to do. So, but I think you are quite familiar with this stuff.
Yes, story of my life, ADHD. I'm doing this. 5 minutes later, weren't you doing that? Well, I decided that I had to do the washing, and then I realized while I was doing the washing there was a dirty dish there, and then that ended up me putting in the kitchen, and then I realized I had to do the dishes. So now I'm out doing the washing. But why are you in the garden?
Well, for the dishes, you know, we always enslave the poor Israel for that. So
yes. I hope they're doing well, because I've been loving their recent Instagram posts. Absolutely remarkable photography.
Okay, yeah, they are hidden here behind the camera, so when something went up, it can tell me so, or if I cannot say some word, he will suggest me so. Because obviously I'm not a natural English speaker, so.
And I wish I spoke your native tongue, but obviously English is the only one that I speak fluently.
Yeah, don't worry. I just try to not sound like Peter Griffin, try to order some salami. So
So let's get on with the first question. Your emporium, tell me all about it. Tell us all about it.
Well, let's say that the emporium right now, it's something like an accident, let's say so, because well, the idea of regroup everything together, the soap making stuff, the artistic spread out of my mind and so on, was born this last March, let's say so. and I decide to call it Emporium due to sounding of it, let's say so. But like 1 month ago, a lady which I work for on with Airbnb, helping her with her house on Airbnb, says that,
Yep.
well, I have this old canteen. You just have to clear it out and come up with your laboratory and stay inside the town, which I'm not there right now. Obviously, I'm at
Yeah.
home.
Surrounded by all your lovely books, all of your D&D memorabilia and everything.
Yeah, plus a disclaimer, I could be attacked by any kind of animal right now, because, for example, Mabon is here sleeping, but as you know, there's little Radagon around. Well,
There is a diesel as well.
it's not that, let's say, how can I tell you? You know that Mabon is crazy. Well, it's an Aussie, so you're quite a kind of on that.
It's an Australian collie. Like, of course it's nuts. Like, absolute infatuation with anything that moves.
Yeah, indeed. I think Radagon get up and Mabon run away to to get it. Well, going back to the Emporium and to your question, so I spent like a month and a half cleaning up this old cantina, which is from, well, the more recent recording of that building is from 1789, if I remember correctly.
Wow, so incredibly historical.
Yeah, but the canteen itself, I think, is from Middle Ages, because the town here is from 1400. So,
yep. And correct me if I'm wrong, canteen is like a cellar?
Yeah, sorry, a cellar door. Yeah, we call it cantina in Italian. So
that's okay. No, I know exactly what you meant, but just for other people who speak English,
we had a lot of false friends, so we have to deal even with that.
Yes.
Thank you to correct me.
Best. So with the canteen, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, you also had something happen at home, and it turned into a remarkable hanging feature.
Yeah. Unfortunately, during last June, yeah, it was in June, a storm hit the town here, and unfortunately, one of my walnut tree broke. Fortunately, it don't eat my goaties; they are safe. So I leave the goat eat on the. What?
They would have just jumped out of the way happily.
Yeah. Indeed, I leave the branches down to them to chew on all the leaf that they like the leaf of the walnut. So I let them eat everything, and then I take the branches and I made a lighting feature with it. Especially due to the fact that the walnut is quite related to witches. So
yeah. Very, very metaphysically masculine as well. Very protective too. And one of the 12 sacred woods.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it is one of the 13. I think there are the sacred woods.
Yes, that's it. For the Yule
log. Another disclaimer: I'm not really knowledge about everything, just because I do the thing that I feel to do so. So, for example,
okay.
initially,
I understand. I'm the same. Like, as much as I know about my herb lore, as much as we both know about our green magic and all of that, there is still so much that we both do not know.
Yeah, I always tell people that all that I know about green magic, let's say so, it comes from my grandma. That she thinks that call me pagan is an injury. Injury? No.
Insult to injury.
Insult, yeah. It is an insult for her to call me pagan, so I call her a good Christian in return. But I always said that she is the original Green Witch of the family, so...
So, speaking back to the Emporium, so from the Emporium, you've got your beautiful feature that you've turned into an art thing. You also recently did an opening as well and had some sales from there, didn't you?
Yeah, I obviously opened the Emporium to all the people that want to come by and say me hello, because formally it's not a boutique, it's just my workshop, as said. So So the
It's like my
first,
house. It's like
yeah,
my house.
exactly.
You
It's
can
all
buy things,
mine.
but it's
You
not
well
open.
know that everyone that want to come and say hello to our house is welcome to.
Yes.
And it's quite unreachable, but just like yours,
Yeah, well, I'm in the middle of the woods and you're on top of a mountain.
in the middle of the woods. So, what I was talking, yeah, indeed, the first things that it was important to settle in the Emporium is the coffee machine, because
Yes.
everyone that want to take
Coffee.
the traditional.
Coffee.
Yeah, I just consume my coffee and I have here my brew due to my, let's say, lung situation and so on.
Yep.
So if I start coughing, I have my brew of nettle and thyme that I found really helpful during.
Nettle. I learned something about nettle recently.
Yeah,
So
I
you
was.
stinging nettle is really,
Yeah,
really good for pain, like just pain in general. Because as you know, I have
indeed.
a really bad back. I got my partner the other day to rub it all over my back, and it stimulated my nerve endings and actually significantly reduced my pain.
Yeah, indeed. I was just making some nettle soap, let's say so, and I discovered while searching around information that nettle is actually useful for coughing and all the mucus when ingested. So with
Team it up with some
time, that is
marshmallow
useful
root and
for what?
team it with some marshmallow root as well, and you'll be really, really good for your throat.
Yeah, for now I just put some thyme that is good for throat inflammation, and some lemony thyme just for the taste of it.
For my throat, I usually make chamomile, honey, lemon, ginger, marshmallow, and
Yeah,
that's what I use.
you mash a lot of stuff together.
You do because they're all so different, but they all work as well.
I was reading about the stinging power of the nettle, and trust me, my legs are quite
Yeah,
kind to be stung by nettle,
it's all right.
but
It's
I
the
prefer
witch of
to
the
leave it
Southern
go.
Light that if the nettle stalk stings you, grab the leaves and rub it together.
What?
The, le-
I
the leaves are a natural anti-venom. So you know when you get stung by the nettle, this one I
Mhm.
learned this a long time ago. You get the leaves and you crush them and you rub them on the sting, and it gets rid of the sting.
Oh, so perfect. I will
Yeah.
consider that. Well, my legs working in the ground outside are full of nettle stung, stung. Fortunately, not a hornet one because I ran away screaming.
So
But
going on to the nettle, your soap, your stinging
yeah.
nettle soap. Tell us more about that.
Well, I just was collecting some nettle because I like to make a lot of pesto with nettle. And I think about making some soap due to the fact that they sell a lot of soap for example, for hair purpose
Mhm.
made with nettle. So I think about to make a soap with nettle and with some dry leaf inside of it. And I always suggest that if you have someone that you are quite a friend with, you can present them nettle soup as a how can I say in English for the hidden part of you. So maybe here in Italy we often say to a
So,
person that we have to send it to hell, let's say so, to go and have a poop on nettle. So
so nettle's a very, very metaphysical plant for you. I didn't realize that. So
yeah,
is
yeah.
so when you say the hidden part, is that like say like a love spell or a hate spell, like infatuation?
No, no, I just mean like if you have to clean your butt after pooping, you can use the net.
Ah.
If you're quite a kind person, I will give you my netting soap. Let's also let's listen. Sorry, obviously I spill everything around. Oh
Oh,
gosh.
that's okay. That's all of your animals' job to clean it all up. That's why you've got so many of them. Where's Maboon? Maboon will come look it up.
Yeah, it's here chewing on a radish, so it's quite.
Oh, so for everybody who doesn't know, Maboon is actually an Australian collie. Absolutely gorgeous, tailless collie, isn't she?
What?
She has no tail, like very short tail.
No, no, yeah, he has a big tail. I choose
Oh,
it. Well, he chose me in the litter, but he's the one with the longer tail.
okay.
They are born even bobtail, so it's a feature of this kind of shepherd.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. So speaking of your shepherd as well, what other animals do you own? Because you have an entire menagerie of pets.
yeah, I have I always said that I have 12 furry, scaly, and feathery familiar or sons and daughter, let's say so.
Yeah.
So I have a Mabon, which is an Australian Shepherd, that say so. We recently carried home the third cat. So, well, you have to consider that our animal doesn't have a normal name, let's say so. So for the dogs, we decide to go with the Sabbath.
Yep.
And for the cat, we decide to go with video game villain. So the older one, which is also the older animal of the house, which is Arthas from World of Warcraft.
Yep.
It is my black cat. Then we have Flemet from how it is called, Dragon Age, which is the lady of the woods and is our lady cat, let's say so. And then we
And then you've got a
recently carried home the small Lord Radagon of the Golden Order from Elden Ring, which is our red cat. Then we have Hecate, let's say
Yep.
it in Italian, which is our last guinea pig, because unfortunately our guinea pig takes names from all spirit and gods and goddesses related to that. So we used
Yep.
to have Hel, which is the guinea pig with the two faces split in two,
Mhm.
one white and one. Then we used to have the beloved Puka, and the one that
That was the
remaining.
fluffy one, wasn't it? That was the fluffy one.
Yeah, the one that resemble a bear.
Yeah.
And now the one that is remaining, which has like 6 or 7 years old.
Oh wow, so old.
Yeah, they are died old for old age, and we don't eat them because they used to eat guinea pig in this region of Italy. So
They eat guinea pigs here, so we're familiar with that. But a lot of people would be like, "Oh, they're pets."
Okay, è arrivato Radagon, sta Galeucci. Sorry, it was the Radagon alarm. So it's called Hecate and is white with strawberry eyes. So I decided she was to call Hecate, and no, she's not the one that give the start of everything. Plus, I have my burrowing owl, which is called Hazel. As our birds.
I think my favorite of all of your pets is Hazel.
The one that hates me the most. So the one that she has an insane hate for me, and I don't know why. I keep on petting her, I keep on feeding her, and she just loves Hazel with is scared of her. And we find out that she loves Radagon also. She look at the kitties like it is in a static moment. So
the cats are probably like food.
No. Oh, another thing to play with. So
and then you've also got a couple of goats as well, don't you?
Yeah, which are Belzebub and Baphomet. I don't think they need any kind of presentation. Plus we have 3 tortoises.
Yep.
which are Aegis, Palewin, and Buckler.
Yep.
Which are the famous shield. So banal. So so basic in the name, and two fishes without name. I think that I give you all our animal
I
for
think so.
now.
I think that's all of them. Yes, I think that's all
Don't
of them.
look at me that way. You know that will be more. It's just me because I say there are all our animal for now.
And he's got more. We're getting more.
Yeah. Obviously, we have to count on the chicken that we will arrive sooner or later. The raven.
You're
There
getting a
will be
raven?
yeah, soon. I don't know when, but I surely will get a raven as we
That's
talk
okay.
about.
I have crows moving in. I have ravens that come and sing me songs all the time now. I've introduced them to the woods and they fly in all the time and say hello to me.
Oh, that's perfect. We
Yep,
used
I
to
have
have a lot of
3.
I oh perfect. We used to have a murder of crows that flown around here, but then a family of raven establishes as a nesting area nearby, so there will be no crows again, as
Yeah.
they are bigger. And
Yeah, so we have birds in this on my property that do very much what the ravens do. But I've been teaching Diesel to get rid of them because they are native, but that he doesn't hunt them. They are native, but they are very, very, very bad for the environment, like very, very bad for conservation because they're called currawongs and they're essentially mobsters. They literally run around the woods stealing
Mhm.
and throwing babies out of nests and not eating them,
Oh,
just
yeah.
literally
We have a
causing carnage.
similar kind of bird in Italy. I don't know his English name. We call it cuculo. And
Are they black?
yeah, it's grayish.
Yeah, and they got
They,
because ours are black with white underwings, and they look like a crow, but they're not a crow.
no, they look like more like a pigeon, let's say so.
Okay, no, that's not
And
like ours.
they evolved to emulate the eggs from other birds in depending on the area
Oh,
where they are found, and they throw all the other eggs from the nest and put their ones into the nest of other birds.
yeah. So what ours do is not like that. They literally just go around, and they are literally like mafia gangsters.
Yeah, I
And
can
they are
I
like,
can
"This is
understand
our
that.
land now. Get out."
Yeah. Well, we have muffins here to do that kind of stuff.
Yes,
Those damn pesky muffins.
yes. So, so we've spoken about your animals now. You've also got an incredible garden. Like you source a lot of your plants for your soap from your own garden, don't you?
Yeah, all of my plants for the soap are sourced from my garden. As I when we bought the house, I decided in a particular area of the garden I will make the witch's garden where
Yep.
I plant all the uh, herbal and plants that could be useful in some ways. So, for example, looking outside the window, I saw lavender, thyme, rosemary. I saw. I don't remember every
Rosemary is
plant that I
so
have. I
good
have
for your hair.
absinthium, also nettle, borage, an eucalyptus plant. So
Oh,
there's
you
a
have
lot of.
you have a gum tree?
Yeah, I decided to plant the Gunni one, the Eucalyptus gunni, which is the one that can resist to our lower temperature during the winter.
Is that the one that grows a big tubular root?
Yeah, I think so. That grows a tubular root that goes down. It's not superficial root, but goes down in the earth.
Yeah, and then it grows many, many trunks.
Yeah. It's
That is what is around me.
yeah. Well, it is a loctus here. It's
Yeah.
not a plant typical from our region of Italy. or Italy
No,
at all,
so
I think so.
that gum tree is actually what is pretty much right outside my house and is in the whole woods that I live in. There are lots and lots of them.
So you are envious for our native oak, and I am used for your native eucalyptus.
All the plants that grow where I live would actually realistically grow where you live because we have very, very, very similar climates. Because
Yeah,
I live in a
indeed, my
Mediterranean
eucalyptus
climate.
plant is thriving like there's no tomorrow. Indeed, I
Yeah,
had to cut it up because he reached the roof of the house of the second floor, so I must teach him how to grow. Let's say so.
so they grow very, very quickly in their first couple of years, and then they don't.
Well, I think that this is I think the second year, the first year. He said just the first year. No, it's
Yeah,
not. Well, one year and a half, but
yeah.
he already reached like 5 meters in height.
I
So I have
think I
to.
think that I think that's about how big they actually get.
No, this one they say that it could reach even 25-meter height. So I think
Oh,
I have to teach it before it's too
that is
late.
not
Let's
the
say
tree
so.
that's near me then. That is not the tree that's near me because I have Mallee eucalyptus.
Okay. I know mine. I say is this the Goonie one, the
Yeah,
Goonie species.
I think which most likely then comes from the eastern coast of Australia in the Blue Mountain regions, most likely.
Well, it's bluish, so maybe
Yeah, so,
that
so
could
it
be
would
a
be it would probably be what we call a blue gum, which
perfect.
makes the best honey. Bees that
Okay,
feed on them
nice to
make
know it.
incredible honey,
Okay,
and they
well,
have
I have
really
a lot of
beautiful flowers.
plan to make some spirits, so I will also make some honey if I
And
ever
when it flowers and goes to seed, don't walk under it barefoot. Gum nuts hurt.
Okay,
They're very
perfect. Nice to
spiky.
know that. Okay, I
They're very small. They're
maybe
very
I
small, but
have
they have a
that
spike
in
on.
mind.
All right.
So
So
I'll
let's
just
go back to talking about your emporium. So obviously we've talked about soaps and the fact that you grow a lot of the herbs to make them for yourself. What other things do you create out of your studio?
well, I'd say so. Like it depends on what it goes on my mind when I get up in the morning.
Yep.
But for example, before knowing that I will have a place to call Emporium, when it was just an idea, I start to collect every old coffee pot that we found in every thrift store in the area. There are
Yep.
always one pot, then another type, then another. And I decide to collect them and to give you, let's say, a tribute to nature. Start sculpting inside them some plant spirit and decorate them, obviously. So I have that for now, which
I
is
love
on
that.
it's a work in progress. As you told me to carry something from the Emporium in here, I
Yes, I
cannot
would
take the
love to
insignia,
see.
but I take some plans of that.
Oh, I'd love to see them.
Well, wait a second, and I try to let them see, but uh, well, they don't manage to catch in the camera. But it
No,
is
it
a work
still
in
looks
progress.
remarkable.
Thank you. Well,
Yes.
I try to do something. I said what comes to my mind. For example, when I will have time and all the things to do so, I will go back and create some cloak and so on, as I used
Yep.
to make clothes for Renaissance Fair when I was younger. So
We are definitely going to have to talk about this because I love making cloaks and I actually plan to make more of them myself because I also do that too.
yeah, perfect. Well, I have just one cloak for me that has like 20 years right now. It is 20 years old.
Wow.
So I keep on
See,
using that.
I've got one. I've got one, and I wore it to my friend's wedding, which I sent you, which you saw some photos of over the weekend.
Yeah,
And
I saw the photo of
it's
the
got
wedding.
book pockets. I literally put book pockets in it, and it doesn't
Oh.
have a hood. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
got three big pockets, so I can actually put things in there when I'm gardening.
No, mine is more like the as is even the right period to talk about it. The traditional cloak that hobbits wear during the Fellowship of the Ring. So
Yep, yep.
the,
So
the typical
mine's
gray
more.
cloak with a long hood.
Yeah, mine doesn't have the hood. Mine's more just to wear around like an overcoat, to just like a traveling cloak, not the traditional one with the hood, but the one without it. It only goes just below my knees.
Okay. No, mine is going on the well. It's not more reaching the soil because I'm grow up in 20 years, so I'm not tall as I used to be. Let's say so on reverse. Well, you understand what I what I
Yeah.
meant. So it doesn't reach soil anymore, but it keeps on having this long hood that I use as scarf. So during the winter time, I use that mantle as a cloak. I don't use jacket or else.
See, I would love to do that here, but it's so not socially acceptable. People give you very weird looks.
Well, even here, did you think that I have a problem with that? They try even
No,
to burn me
no,
at the
no.
stake in town till I start to talking about witches. So here, where we decide to settle down, unfortunately, are quite conservative. So when
Yes, I know. We've
they,
had discussions about that. The things that I
yeah,
do here, oh my God, I would be in so much trouble if I did the things that I did out here.
yeah. But as said, so I also have the same problem because, for example, they try to disguise the fact that inside the woods, for example, in the woods of the area, we have a lot of witches' stones. There
Yeah.
used to be a massive boulder. I don't know the English name for that, but the boulder that during the centuries is moving by itself. The one
Hmm.
that they say that used to make altar from that. Indeed, there are a lot of Celtic inscription of that on those boulders. But when I start to tell that in town, they start to say that I made it up, even if they are there. There's also one of those boulders is called the cross stones right now,
Yep.
because Irish monk uh, to exercise the ancient spirit of the stone, um, inscribe all Celtic crosses on the stones to try to exercise the ancient spirit of it.
Oh wow. And
Plus,
that's because, correct me if I'm wrong, in where you live as well, there was lots and lots of stories about hill people, like hill witches and stuff like that.
yeah, you have to consider that this region of Italy is one of the has host two of the main witches trials of the nation.
Yep.
So in let's say 14th to 15th century, if I remember correctly, in Piedmont, and then here in Lombardy between 16th and 17th century, they had a lot of witches trials, and we live in the I always say thong of land between Piedmont and Lombardy, so is full of witches stories and witches stuff, legends, and so on.
It would
Even
be
the
remarkable.
funny one, and
Like it would be a remarkable place to live. Like just the amount of culture that just you talk about, like it's just breathtaking. And not to mention all the photos and that you put all over the internet, like absolutely breathtaking countryside as well.
yeah, unfortunately, I always tell that this area of Italy is quite unknown to foreigner. Let me use this word. But there's nothing to envy to, let's say, like New Zealand and the countryside that we saw in again, Lord of the Ring and so on.
Mhm.
A lot of that could be taking place here. Indeed, a lot of the battle that Tolkien told about
Yep.
are fought around here. So
And Tolkien is very, very, very descriptive in his terminology in those books.
yeah, yeah, obviously. So
Oh,
as said, so we even have stone fortresses. So what else to claim about?
exactly. Like it's Australia and New Zealand, they are beautiful countries, don't get me wrong, but it's not like the alpine regions where you are. We don't have those magnificent pine tree forests. We don't get as much snow as you.
Well, unfortunately, last 2 years here was quite unsnowy, let's say so. We
But
used to
that's because
have
we were very wet.
even 2 or 3 meters of snow even in the valley. But then the last 2 years, we know that it's hotter than ever and so on. So we don't have a lot of snow. But
Mm. And
theoretically,
that I think's got to do with a lot of the El Nino weather cycles. Because when the northern hemisphere where you are is often very
mhm.
dry, the southern hemisphere where I am is often very wet. And that's definitely what we've witnessed over the last couple of years. We had those massive fires 3 years ago, and now we've had
Mhm.
flood.
For example, this summer was quite painful as it doesn't drop a single drop of water from the sky. So the plants are suffering like ever. It seems to be in autumn since the beginning of August, as every trees, even in the woods, are turning yellow. So
Oh
unfortunately,
wow,
there's
even the conifers.
even inside the woods, all the nuts trees and even the oak, some of the oaks start to turning yellow. So I'm quite afraid about it. Let's say so.
Yep.
Fortunately, it is like 2 days of raining right now, so things seems to catch back up as nature will always find a way. Let's say
It
so.
always does.
I
Always
always
does. It always feels.
For example, one thing that I always take as an example is that during the last year, the golden eagles come back to this area,
Mhm.
and there will no golden eagles so in decades, I say.
And would that be
Plus,
because of the golden eagles? They're primarily fishing species of bird, aren't they? They eat a lot of
no,
fish.
it is quite an exceptional hunter. They will hunt everything. Indeed,
Okay.
we are quite afraid to let the cats go outside right now, especially in the between 8 and 9 in the morning, and then
Uh,
between 5 in the afternoon. The golden eagle is around, so I prefer to keep the the cats inside the house.
that's probably a very smart thing because you probably heard the stories of the Australian wedge-tailed eagle.
The wedge-tailed eagle, I don't know what it
But-
is
So the
on the.
wedge-tailed eagle is one of the biggest eagles in the world, and it's got a significantly massive wingspan. And I remember losing two dogs to them.
Yeah, exactly a thing. You have to consider that they can prey upon like mountain goats. So
Yeah.
a cat is just an entree
A
for
snack.
them.
Yeah, it's literally like, oh, that was a nice toothpick.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so going back to the Emporium as well, because this
Yeah,
absolutely
we keep
fascinating.
on diverging about stuff, but guys,
That's
you
fine.
have
That's
to to
exactly what this
consider
is
that with
for.
us.
Exactly. So go back to the Emporium. So you do soaps, you're doing those magnificent mugs. What else do you do from there? And how busy do you actually get? Because it's so fascinating, and I love that you're in an old medieval cellar.
Well, let's say plus I saw that the is she's just went out, I think, but the lady that gave me the cellar joined the live for a second. So well, let's say that one thing that I want to do with the Emporium, due to the fact that it is say a workshop is not a normal
Business.
come posso dire? Yeah, business place. It's not my business place, let's say so. I wish to collect stuff from all the artisans of the area that want to, obviously.
Yep.
That's something that relate with our things, because obviously I cannot storage food or else. So unfortunately, I cannot store that type of product. But for example, I have a friend that makes wooden automatas.
Yep.
And I already tell him if he want to give me something to take at the Emporium to give him another window about his work.
You want to open like a local gallery for local artists.
Yeah, exactly. It will be an artisan gallery of the area, because unfortunately, artisan stuff, especially here in Italy, it seems to going lost, like every traditional stuff.
That's very much like it is here in Australia as well. Like there are not many places that even I can put my stuff up. Like I have to do it online because it's the only place that I can actually sell my products, because we don't have galleries like what you're offering.
Here maybe we have a lot of places that we can sell it, but everything about the Italian bureaucracy is a nightmare. So even that it is not a business place, I had to find everything to justify that I'm there working on stuff that is a private room that people can enter and saw what I'm doing and take chat with me. But it is a nightmare. It is a bureaucracy nightmare.
Yep, no, it's very much the same as well for us here in Australia as an artist. It's very hard for an artist in general, no matter, I think, where you are. Because when I was talking to a couple of weeks ago with the Bones who do their bone arts, which I think you saw a part of that live, where they repurpose all of the bones that they find on the side of the road, they can only sell them on the side of the road because they can't actually technically sell them.
Yeah, for example, here, all the bureaucracy connected to the bones, I think, is relatable to the ones of some species in America. Because, for example, well, I have some bones that I found in the woods, and you know that, especially the one of the fucking mufflons. Sorry for the word, but I hate mufflons. They keep on destroying my garden.
Just as much as I bloody hate those Karawongs. You can swear as much as you want. These couch talks are just about anything. There is
yeah,
nothing.
You know that I don't swear a lot in English. I swear a lot in Italian with some colorful ways of swearing, but I try to be a princess here. Going back to the bone stuff, theoretically, everything related to bones should be connected to a certificate of that. So, for example, if I have if I want to carry the bones of Hazel, I will never do that. But there are people that like to take their animals and make them something with that to remember them. A simulacrum, let's say so. I have to keep all the documentation, I think.
The certifications.
Just like if she was alive. So all the chip, it is not a chip, it's a, let's say, a ring that they carry on the foot.
So their identification tag.
Yeah, exactly. Or, for example, if it was a not wild caught, but for example, a wild boar, I had to have the certification that said that that boar was hunted down that specific day by that hunter with that allowance to hunt it.
Yeah.
So
That
it is
that's
quite a
so
nightmare
complicated.
on
I
everything.
can go and get some bones from the side of the road and be like, this is a kangaroo. Here you go.
Yeah, for example, behind me, like here, up on here, I have a fox school, which I found outside my garden because there are a lot of foxes here, and
Hmm.
probably that fox was killed by my neighbor owl. So there's that. But I found the school waiting for me, but I don't know how to manage that. So obviously I cannot sell it, and I
Yeah.
don't want to, because
No. No.
there's a particular story around this fox, so I don't want to sell it.
So let's move away from the Emporium and let's move away from art stuff now. I want to touch on your spirituality. To
Ooh,
explain your
another
practice.
nightmare. So
Explain your practices. Like we're coming up to almost 50 minutes, so we might have to restart this live soon. But I would love to know about your practices, and I'm sure everybody that follows you would love to know about your spiritual practices as well.
okay, so as you said that we may have to restart again, I just give you a brief introduction about that, and then
Yep,
maybe we will explain everything better. Uh,
absolutely. Let's do that.
let's say that I don't follow any specific cult,
Yep.
or any specific religion. Let's say so. I do not practice Wicca. I do not practice traditional witchcraft or traditional paganism or whatever. I don't like to put a label on stuff, on
Yep.
everything, from practice to sexuality to my way of living. I had to call my ID Illich the Green Witch just because we are on internet, so we have to give us label. But
Hmm.
as you well know, I may be more kind to be Illich the Clumsy Witch.
Yeah.
But we can talk about it later. So I just do the thing that I feel so. So, for example, I always tell, well, a lot of people reach to me to say, oh, how I cannot be a green witch, for example. And I always reply, well, start from the basic, because you cannot mess with the plants. You have
Yeah.
to study a lot on the plant itself. So, for example, taking back to the discourse that we had before, I just discovered the things about the nettle that could be useful with a lung problem.
Hmm.
But I work with the nettle as dishes from ages right now.
Yeah.
And I always say that I wrote a lot of herbarium, but I just wrote the first witchy book like 2 years ago. So I just started to grasp things about the people that called itself witch or whatever.
Hmm.
So I prefer to call me me. Let's say so. I always say that for witch, I could be a witch. For my friends with I play to Dungeons and Dragons, I'm a perfect druid due to all my animal companion and all my knowledge
I can
about plants and
definitely
stuff.
see that. I can definitely see that. You'd be the best person to take into the woods.
Yeah, well, do not take me into the city because I get lost, but take me into the woods and I will always carry a tome.
Me too. Take me into the town, and I'm just like, did we go? Where's Google?
Where there is a funny story about that. The first days, not even the first years or whatever, the first days that when I used to go to university, I spent two summer in China to practice my Chinese.
Yeah.
So the first days that we were in China, well, I'm an awful student. Let's start with that. So my Chinese weren't good. Don't let me tell about it now. But the first day, our professor took us to a restaurant and then say, well, go back to the university, to the dormitorium. How it's called? Come è chiamato in inglese? Dormitorium.
Dormitory.
Perfect. And say I am here, Isil, to help me. So sorry for the Italian.
Oh, no. That's completely fine. I can guarantee that there are many Italians jumping on here as well who are able to translate what you're saying in Italian too.
Well, then I just ask you how can I say something in English, so I will translate it back later. Well, I was saying that he give us no clue about where to go or what to do. And all my classmates start to panic. But fortunately, as we were in Hangzhou, it is a town just like our main town here, Varese. So there's the city, but there's also the rural area. And there were a lot of trees in the city. And I managed to go back to the university just using the tree route. I cannot speak a word in Chinese, but I managed to carry everyone at home using the tree. This is to say how much it was enough for me.
That's exactly. So when I used to live in the city, I lived in an area called Modbury, and I lived in the suburb next to Modbury called Valley View. And there was a creek that went all the way to the city and back. And that's how I got to and from the city.
Just for that reason, because there's only one route to go there.
And I got to avoid all the main roads, and it was the most magnificent bike ride of my life. And I got really in shape too, because it was about 10 kilometers.
Oh, well, I think that if you have to do it every day, I think that you will get well in shape.
I was doing it every day to get to and from the cafe that I used to work at. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to pause this live. We're going to jump back on in a second once I put this up live. And then we're going to go back into talking about, obviously, your spiritual practices and your plant practices and all of that.
Okay, perfect. I will be here waiting for that.
All right. Bye, everybody. We will be back shortly. Sorry for this remission.
Okay, bye.